All right, Arizona, Stanford. Arizona, 12.5-point road favorites, 58.5 total. A lot of money coming in here on Arizona in this game. People are starting to take notice of a pretty good football team that Jed Fish has this year at Arizona. I like the offense. Jaden DeLora, very capable quarterback. Defense still not great, but I think it's definitely improving for this team. And everybody obviously is very, very negative on Stanford. And I still don't know how they won so handily at Hawaii, but since then it's been a disaster. Troy Taylor's team just eviscerated by USC 56-10, and then they lose as favorites last week to Sacramento State, 30-23. And if you look at the box score of that game, it's not fluky. Stanford gives up 440 or almost 450 total yards of offense. They got outgained by Sacramento State in that game. So Stanford deserved to lose that game outright as favorites against an FCS foe. I cashed a ticket with Arizona. I know I've said in the past it's tough to trust Arizona laying points, but that's how negative I have become on UTEP. And Arizona was able to take care of business 31-10 last week against UTEP. I mean, now that it's up to 12, maybe I'm a little more leery, but don't know if I can make a case for Stanford. This is starting to look like that Stanford team that was going to be the worst team in the Pac-12 ever since that Hawaii game. It's looking more like an anomaly. And plus, they've had quarterback issues. Ashton Daniels has been banged up. That other guy that they put in at quarterback, Justin Lamson, he hasn't looked good at all. Is Daniels going to be good enough to play at quarterback for Stanford? But either way, if they fall behind, it's not the kind of offense I'm trusting here to be able to battle their way back. So I think the money is right to move it to Arizona. It's just a question of do you want to take it now at 12.5? What do you think here, Conor?
Man, that loss was just ugly to Sacramento State. You know, that's where he coached before. This is to lose to them. It was rough for Stanford. Yep. Daniels got pulled, right away, pretty quick in that game, but Lamson wasn't any better. The defense to give up that many yards to, and points to Sacramento State is just ugly. At Arizona, they covered. It was enough. For UTEP's that bad, but they got it done. 31-10. I still like Jaden DeLora. I think he's pretty good. But now the double digits on the road, even though I do think they're better than Stanford, this would be big. Go on the road, win by a couple touchdowns, take them a little bit more serious here, this Arizona Wildcat team.
And sometimes those spots, Conor, the week after a team loses as a favorite to an FCS team, that's sometimes the best time to bet on them. The very
Wake
next
up.
week, But a lot of people like that theory with Buffalo last week against Liberty when they lost to Fordham the week before, an FCS team, and said, oh, now you're getting value with Buffalo here against Liberty, and Buffalo got destroyed.
Doesn't always work, and can it work with Stanford? Because I'd like to look at I just haven't seen anything to make me really want to back them, because this seems like maybe, Stanford here at home, because I always want to look at a team that I think, could do something, a double-digit dog at home.
Yeah, I agree with that. Speaking of Buffalo, by the way, that game's not on our slate of games on the show this week, but what's the Lafayette, the Louisiana Raging Cajuns doing laying double digits in that game against Buffalo? I know Buffalo didn't look good last week and the last 2 weeks, but I think that team laying that many points is a little nuts to me. So this might be the week to take Buffalo in that game against Louisiana.